but he has the least amount of money at the table. He only has $63,200 right now.
Sound like a profit. So I'm out.
At some point, do you want to rebuy?
Raise 2,100
Well,
to play.
you've got to look around the table and decide if it's a good spot to rebuy, you know? Like, do you think you've got much of an edge against these players? These are some of the best players anywhere in the world.
Well, how about Andrew Feldman's got pocket aces once again?
Well, he probably wishes he had more money in front of him right now.
Well, we can do that too.
Looks like he's lining up for a re-raise, unsurprisingly.
Well, it's a great spot. You've got the raise from Tom Dwan. You've got a call from Phil Ivey. It looks like a perfect spot for a squeeze play.
Looks like he's trying to price in one of them. The problem with trying to price in one of them, if one of them comes in, the other one probably will.
Pass.
Of course, the squeeze play is when one of them raises it up with possibly a marginal hand. He gets a couple of callers because they all think he's probably got a marginal hand. And then you think if you can get past that original raiser, you'll pick up all that money in the pot.
Well, he gets past the original raiser, and that'll probably get rid of Ivey, but we'll have to see.
Phil doesn't like leaving any chips out there.
Looks like he's put his babies out there. He doesn't want to leave his babies out there.
And the price is pretty well quite cheap.
Well, it's 6,100.
I bet if it was 9-10 of spades, he'd definitely call. Might not like the king in his hand.
Pass.
That's why he gets out the way, I think. And that one goes to Andrew.
And Andrew Feldman, obviously, probably wanting a little bit more action. He's down over $100,000, and he's not going to get it all back if people keep folding.
Exactly, and he's had aces twice so far today. Just shows that aces aren't always the answer. It's nice to have a big hand behind a slightly weaker hand. But that hasn't happened so far for him today. But it's always nice to win a pot rather than lose a big pot. And that's what could have happened if he got a couple of callers.
Hey, look at it this way. At the end of the day, no matter how much he wins or loses, he's got really cool sunglasses.
Hi, I'm Andrew Feldman. I won the UK Open 4 in 2007 for $250,000. I realised I had what it takes to play at the top level when I started to make in a day what I was in a year at my local supermarket. When I realised that there was a huge amount of money for me to make, then I knew I had talent to progress to the very top. For me, it's all about your real analytical approach to the game and your gut instinct, and it's sort of a natural talent. You've either got it or you don't.
And this is truly a marathon of poker games, 24 hours of no-limit hold'em. And all these players, they've all played long, long sessions. I know you have, I have, most poker players.
Pass.
It's not a foreign thing for them to play 20 hours straight, 21 hours straight.
Pass.
Exactly. I think in my day I played over 40 hours straight, so you're maybe not as fresh by the end of it all, but as long as everyone else is just as unfresh as you are, it doesn't really matter. I certainly don't think I could do it anymore. Starting to feel a little bit old from my 40-hour straight cash games.
You get a raise in the small blind from Alan Cunningham. Looks like a call from Tom Dwan. And the one thing good is everybody at home can watch this. They don't have to smell it.
Heads up.
Dwan with the ace.
Queen 5,
Cunningham
9.
with 5-6. Well, Cunningham outflops him.
Seems to do better when he's got the worst hand so far, Alan.
4,000.
Funny, obviously ace-7 much better than 5-6 heads up, but at the same time 5-6 suited seems to play better post-flop. Cunningham's going to bet up 4,000. Dwan has the ace of clubs.
I find it interesting sometimes when I'm sitting in a cash game and you know some guy's getting beaten up or not having too much of a run. You start feeling like you can make more plays against them. And I think that's possibly what we could even see here from Tom.
Well, it's very much like sharks to blood. They see blood in the water and they smell it and they go for it. Best poker players in the world have no mercy. And Tom Dwan, obviously one of those sharks.
Raise.
And, well, you called it. Tom Dwan raises it up. And that really puts Alan Cunningham in a tough spot, out of position with bottom pair.
What I'd like to see here from Alan isn't so much a call. is maybe what we had with Chris Ferguson earlier on, the re-raise. But as it happens, he decides to get out the way. That's the problem with a hand like 5-6. It's a great position hand, but if you're out of position against a player like Tom Dwan, you really have to catch an absolute monster, because he's going to put you to an awful lot of pressure come the flop.
And unlike last year, Tom Dwan is actually having quite a good $1 million cash game. Today he's up $41,800. But this is a first for $1 million cash game history. Alan Cunningham really having a tough go of it. Down $44,000.
You had to late on a pocket I had, if I had to late like $1.80, $1.90, $2.10,
2,000 play.
I know. And you beat him like just in the pieces.
Pass.
Did you bet on it?
That was 200 to win.
Well, raise here from first position from Alan. Call from Tom Dwan.
Call.
That brings in Phil.
Pass, pass.
Phil with a 10-jack.
Call.
And Chris in there. A lot of picture cards out there. I'd expect a baby flop with all of those. Maybe some aces on the board.
Queen, 8,
Oh, where's a queen?
Well, this is interesting here. Now, Tom Dwan with top pair king kicker. He actually has 2 pair, queens and eights with a king kicker. Chris Ferguson with queens and eights, but a 10 kicker.
3,000.
It's not going to stop Alan from having another fly at this flop.
Call. Call.
Well, Phil's calling for a 9. Now does Chris want to let a cheap card get out there? It's only 3,000, but he is out of position. If he gets a couple of callers, how much is he going to like it if he does re-raise?
Well,
it's going to have to be a big re-raise.
Well, this is the problem, though. If you re-raise here, you're only going to get worse hands to fold. An 8's never going to fold, and then you have no idea. If somebody does call, you have no idea where you're at. Here's the turn.
6.
6. 6 changes nothing.
Check. Check.
Well, Alan's done with it.
I wonder if Tom's worried about Chris in this hand. I still don't know if he wants to check this one.
So many different things here. I mean, you talk about, do I have the best hand? Do I want to do a little pot control here, keep this pot small? And at the same time, do I want to give up a free card? Normally on a board of Queen 8-8 Rainbow.
You probably think you can with a King-Queen. 3 other players, you've got to expect there's some... Well, looks like he's going to make a bet.
14,400.
And he bets $14,000 into a $21,000 pot. Phil Ivey folds, and now this is the big one. We know Alan Cunningham is going to fold behind him, but the action is on Chris Ferguson. He has 2 pair, queens and eights, with a 10 kicker. Tom Dwan with the best of it right now. I mean, let's be honest. Ferguson can only beat a bluff.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a pretty good bluff if you're betting into 3 other players in this kind of a spot.
Pass.
And the interesting thing is, if Ivey and Cunningham are not in that pot, I think Ferguson probably lose a lot more chips.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Tom Dwan raising it up with such a variety of hands. So what makes him so dangerous?
Hi, I'm Tom Dwan. I'm 23 and I play poker. I grew up in Edison, New Jersey, and now I live in some combination of Boston, Vegas, San Diego, wherever the big poker games are, wherever some nice beaches or some fun times to be had. To be winning at high stakes poker, you need to be constantly adapting. So obviously a year later from any given game, if you're a winning high stakes player, you should be playing better. You should be more experienced. I would say I'm playing a little better, I'm a little more experienced than last year, but the difference is marginal in my opinion. Hopefully the results will be better, but we'll see. Obviously in any one session there's a lot of luck, and hopefully it'll be on my side.
When some people that come into the game that I want to play with.
5 and 10 and 2 is good.
Yeah. I don't want to change anything until we get people I want to play with.
2,200 to play.
When them guys come here. And Phil
Well, here comes Andrew. He's had aces twice, now he's picked up kings. Will he get some action this time? Only man left who can give him some action is Patrick Antonius.
Well, you know Patrick Antonius is not folding his blind. He's going to at least call, and he does call. Now, Andrew Feldman, with aces twice and kings once, you'd think he'd be way ahead. But no, he's down over $100,000.
3,500.
Doesn't look like he's got a flop here he can get an awful lot of money back with.
Yeah, Patrick gives it up. And Andrew Feldman, who absolutely dominates the online poker world, having a bit of trouble playing in this live game.
Yeah, so far hasn't been his day. Made a bad call as it happens against Phil Ivey with ace-king. He's had aces twice. One of those he was up against aces. And here he is with kings, just pretty well picking up a small pot. Over 100,000 down. But it's a long, long day. And he'll have plenty of opportunity to get his money back.
Chris Ferguson, first to act. Ferguson, by the way, up $44,700 in last year's $1 Million Cash game. Ferguson was up really big early before losing a monster pot to Phil Ivey. Dwan with Queen 7. Not much of a hand, but that doesn't mean anything for Tom Dwan. Well, it does in this case. He folds it away. Mike Matusow, the 10 deuce.
2,000 to play.
And Ivey going to raise this up with the 5 deuce of spades on the button.
I got to grind up 500 at a time.
We should just do 5K a pot. So you only win if it's 2 your suit.
They won't let us do props. They said
2,000.
No props no matter what.
And what are they going to do if 4 people are playing props?
Right.
And you get a re-raise here from Antonius.
8,000.
He doesn't give Ivey credit for that raise, huh?
That would be my guess. I think he also wants to kind of half find out where his ace is, but I think you're right. I think it's just I don't think you've got much. You're going to raise on the button with anything. I'm going to try and take this one down. So 2,000 from Phil, 8,800 total from Patrick Antonius, another 6,800 to Phil.
The one thing that's dangerous, though, is, this is what I was about to say, Ivey is bound to raise with anything on the button. But when you re-raise him,
to call.
Exactly. When you re-raise him, he's not folding so quickly.
Jack, deuce, 8.
So now you're out of position in a bigger pot, but you have took control of it.
Now Ivey's outflopped him, but he might not.
Still,
know it.
it's not a big outflopping.
Well, it goes check, check.
King.
Well, if you didn't think you were behind on the flop, you might think it now. King of clubs, definitely a scary card if you're in there with 5 deuce. Pot is $19,600. And the action is on Patrick Antonius.
About $20,000 in the pot. I can't imagine Patrick letting this one go without firing another shot. Looks like about 11, 12,000.
12,200.
And it's 12,200 over to Phil Ivey. Pot is now 31-8, 12-2. And I would say 99% of players, they're 5 deuces in the muck right now. Not necessarily, though, with Phil Ivey. It's kind of that sixth sense, doesn't he?
He certainly does. These two players have played against each other an awful lot. Lots and lots of pots, lots and lots of hours.
And Ivey calls. What a call. And this pot, I mean, Antonius with ace high, Ivey with a pair of deuces. There's the river. It's a 6 of diamonds. Well, if you didn't think you were behind before, the 6 of diamonds doesn't change anything, does it?
No, exactly. Now it's a question of whether Patrick's going to fire again. It's 44,000 in the middle.
Unbelievable.
Check. Check.
Now, Patrick checks it. Does Ivey think he needs to bet
All right.
to win this pot?
Check.
Yes, I'm.
Oof, that's music to Phil's ears.
Aha, see, I knew deuces.
Unreal. Patrick Antonius can only shake his head.
He's seen it all before, Patrick.
Well, I was losing a lot as that pot came down, and I picked up 2 jacks.
I called Phil's raise with ace-10, which was just a standard call.
And the flop came ace-jack.
What a flop!
Oh, wow, this is it.
He usually stops bluffing in those kind of boards, in my opinion, if he doesn't have it. So I wanted to make a little irritation raise.
I bet he raised me, and I re-raised him.
His eyes are just lighting up here. And he's going to re-raise right away.
I was pretty happy that he re-raised me on a flop, so I thought it might work.
This pot is already $107,000.
Then the turn came in, I bet he called.
I would not put him on an ace in his hand. So I was pretty much thinking if he has jacks or nothing in his hand.
10 would be a huge river. It's a queen. They're all talking at the start of this hand. Now everyone's watching. This pot is 307,000 and it could be getting bigger.
When the river card came, when it came a queen, that was a pretty safe card, I thought. I didn't think he had ace-queen.
Ivey trying to think, how much can I bet here? And look at this. This is the bet. It's $225,000.
The river was a really tough decision.
This could be his one chance to get out of it.
What do you do if you're Patrick Antonius?
I knew I had won the hand, especially when he took that long to call me. So I was just hoping he called at that point.
You can just feel the tension in the room.
I call.
He says call. This is a monster, and it is the hand that Phil Ivey has been waiting for. $807,000 pot. Incredible.
It was nice to make a comeback and end up winning that day and win that big of a pot.
This is absolutely unbelievable.
The way we play poker in these stakes, like it's just the chips. It's just the amount of chips. Like you don't think that the guy bet $250,000, $250,000. It's just you just look how much there's in a pot and how much percentually he bet.
You know, it's nothing personal. Nobody takes it personal. We just here having fun and competing against each other.
Those big hands happen sometimes, and you can't always play perfect.
These two players are friends, but no love lost there on the table. Button is in front of Patrick Antonius. Just took a big hit to his stack.
2,000.
Down about $87,000 right now.
I think I'm going to 3-barrel somebody. It's coming soon. I got to 1-barrel somebody first.
Well, Tom Dwan raises. Phil Ivey going to re-raise.
7,500 to play.
And Ivey is definitely feeling it.
He's flowing right now, Phil.
Pass.
He's got position. He's up against one of the most aggressive players at the table, who could be raising with anything.
Cool.
And he's now took control of the pot.
Heads up.
Well, Dwan's in good shape. But does he know it?
5,
I
7.
think we both know the answer to that is no.
Well, now he's not in good shape at all. Phil Ivey has flopped an open-ended straight draw. Tom Dwan with the best of it right now with queen high, but
Certainly the kind of flop that could give Phil a little bit of confidence to play it quite fast.
as if Phil Ivey needed any confidence.
That much is true.
Pot is $17,300. Action on Phil Ivey. I think the action's still on Tom Dwan. I apologize.
Normally you'd expect the player with the queen six in that spot to check it.
Well, most players would, but Tom Dwan does not fall into that category. And he's going to bet it. He's going to lead right into his opponent. Ivey's going nowhere.
12,200.
What'd you start the hand with this time, Tom?
About 140.
40.
Ivey asking him for a count. The bet is 12,200. Action on Ivey. He is open-ended.
Probably deciding how fast he wants to play this one. Wants to make sure he gets to see the turn for certain.
Oh, I love the call. It's a great call. I mean, can Dwan fire again with nothing?
The re-raise, of course, would have taken away his positional advantage. He might be able to fire again now.
Oh, Dwan. What a lucky turn card there. He had absolutely nothing. He was just making a stone-cold bluff. And now he's got top pair.
Was a stone-cold bluff with the best hand, of course.
Right. But he thought it was a stone-cold bluff.
Exactly.
Check.
And now he's going to check because he's made a hand.
He can afford to call Phil down now.
Ivey's got a lot of outs, though. Any 9, any 4.
Right, it goes check, check.
Check.
Phil not falling for that. King on the end brings the club flush draw. Also a scare card to the Queen 6. Wonder if we'll get a check here from Tom, hoping he's up against something like 8s or 9s that are going to call him. We know the best play here is a check, because Phil would have to make a bet if he has any chance of winning this pot. But that's hindsight. But I think long term, I think maybe even the bet's the best play here.
Very easy to put Ivey on pocket 9s, pocket 10s, like you said.
But we also know he's quite capable of just floating one, Phil. And your best bet to get paid here would probably be to check it. Looks like he's going to go with my favourite play in this spot, which is a bet. Especially with his table image.
Oh, he is going to bet.
So it's
The only problem with that is it opens up the all-in play from Phil. Big pressure play could come here from Phil. Well, the clubs have come. A flush draw on the flop is definitely a viable hand for Phil.
You can see that great poker mind thinking. Well, he's got black chips in his hand.
If his play was all in, he certainly wouldn't be playing with the chips. Looks like he's just going to make a decent-sized re-raise.
Oh, try to represent the flush.
Almost changed his mind. He definitely thought about it. Everyone looking on. They know if Phil makes a play here, this pot could rapidly go above 200,000.
Yeah, pot is now 65,500. It's 23-8. Back to Ivey. And Ivey obviously either going to raise this or fold. You can almost see that great poker mind working.
I think he's left it too late.
Pass.
And Phil Ivey gives it up. One thing about Phil Ivey, he thinks everything through so much. Tom Dwan, I mean, you just wonder what he was feeling inside while Phil Ivey was thinking about that.
Yeah, I think he wants a call. He certainly doesn't want a re-raise.
We take a look at the leaderboard here. Phil Ivey still up $94,500. Tom Dwan now up $65,000, getting more and more dangerous. Chris Ferguson up $43,900. Patrick Antonius, though, down $87,400. And Andrew Feldman, the internet pro, is our big loser right now, down more than $105,000.
Well, what a session of poker we've had here at the FullTiltPoker.com $1 million cash game. Plenty more of the same guaranteed next time. I hope you'll join us then. But from all of us, it's bye for now.
They're great players. It's not a pushover field at all.
It's like the toughest field in like history.
I'm playing good enough to beat these guys.
We just saw poker history made right here tonight.
If you're not excited, check your pulse.